Talk to us about these apps, what happened, and how people can protect themselves.
Thanks so much for having me, Emily, and appreciate the opportunity to talk about this report. Today, we released some research into 400 malicious mobile applications. They were designed to steal Facebook login information, and the apps were listed on the Google Play Store, on Apple's App Store, and they would disguise themselves as a variety of different things: VPN services, business apps, mobile games, different utilities for your phone, to try and trick people into downloading them.
How do you know if you've been affected? Like, how can you tell?
So because these applications are available on the open internet, it's no single company can protect people alone. We also know that these scammers constantly adapt to detection by app stores, by researchers. Now, here we reported our findings to Apple and to Google. And as far as we know, all of these applications have been taken down. But we also are sending notifications to users on our platform who may have been impacted by these applications. Those notifications will include some steps that people can take to protect their accounts more effectively, as well as some tips for how to spot these types of applications elsewhere on the internet.
Why are you doing this now? I mean, surely this has happened before, right?
So our teams have been investigating this type of malicious application activity for years. We're always looking for malware or other efforts to steal people's credentials. But this particular PSA is the first time we're releasing one of these kind of public service announcements. And the idea is that in addition to working to get these apps taken down and providing tools for people to identify those apps, we felt it was important for people to have tips that they can use, both to keep themselves safer on our platform and also to stay safe across the internet so that they know what to look for if someone's trying to target them with an application like this.
Now, you also worked at the U.S. government. You led efforts to address foreign interference in democratic systems and elections. We've got a midterm election coming up. What are you most concerned about, and how ready do you think Meta is this time?
So whenever there's an election, we know we have to stay vigilant. Our teams are continuing to monitor for any kind of threats on our platform. And a good example of this would be just last week. We released a report into 2 influence operations, one from Russia, one from China, that we caught very early. But in that report, we included a bunch of information about what they were doing, what we had found, who we believe was behind the activity. And in that case, like we did with the malicious apps investigation today, we shared information with our partners across the industry, with the US government, and with the public to make sure people knew what to expect and what we were seeing.
I spoke with Frances Haugen earlier this week, the Facebook whistleblower, and she raised some concerns about safety and security in social media, and she used an interesting metaphor. Take a listen to this.
Right now, we can't see behind the curtain of social media. We were able to push for safety features in cars, or found in the Department of Transportation, reducing the fatality rate from automobile accidents by effectively 3.5 times. Because we could actually control cars, we could crash test them. Right now, we can't do any of those things with social media. We can't crash test it. We can't confirm how it could be safer. So we don't know what to demand.
What do you think of her thought there? And do you think more regulation would help?
So I think that the security area that my team focuses on is an area where we've worked very hard to be transparent about our work. We've reported on more than 150 coordinated inauthentic behavior influence operations over the last several years that originated from more than 50 different countries, that operated in more than 30 different languages. We've reported on cyber espionage activity, hacking activity, both related to our platform and more broadly across the internet. I do think that there's always more work to be done in the security space, but I think that the more important work here is that we are sharing information with our industry partners, that we're sharing with governments where appropriate, and really importantly, that we're sharing with the public, that we're publicizing these reports, publicizing our findings, enabling the research into these types of behaviors, not just on our platform, but across the internet in general.
There's also been some broader questions lately about how much Meta is investing in not just English language platforms. Obviously, you've got tens of thousands of people working on trust and safety around the world. What can you tell us about how much of that investment is focused on languages other than English?
So our security work is global. As I mentioned, we've taken down more than 150 of these coordinated inauthentic behavior operations around the world. Those operations operated for more than 50 different countries in more than 30 different languages. And so we're making sure that we're protecting people on our platform wherever they happen to be from threats wherever they may happen to originate. Again, there's always more work to be done here, but by focusing on violating behaviors and threats across the platform, we can do our utmost to keep people safe.
I know in the security world, there's always something keeping folks up at night. What's keeping you up at night?
So right now we are laser focused on protecting elections around the world. Of course, the US midterms coming up pretty soon, the Brazil elections that just happened. Our teams are constantly monitoring for security threats related to those elections, as well as broader global potential threats. This is probably a conversation we can also have after the midterms about what we end up seeing.